What is up, my Lorcana Goons, and welcome back to the Lorcana Goons channel. My name is Kevin. You're joined today with Zach Stone for our Friday weekly market watch, where we talk about Lorcana news, meta trends, and card prices. We have some news for any Lorcana local players today. Lorcana is teaming up with GameStop apparently to host a Sunday event where you can have like a demo and play some games there. I'm not entirely sure what you get. It doesn't look like you get anything for free, for lack of a better term, but it's more of like a play experience. And they posted on their official Twitter page that you can scan this code to look for one near you. I can't click the link from my desktop. You literally have to scan the code, so I can't show you what it looks like. But yeah, if you guys want to go play Lorcana at GameStop, you can find a store near you. Zach, I know you try to find a store near you, and what happened exactly?
Well, just want to say happy Friday to the Goon Squad guys. I appreciate everyone that's here watching this Market Watch video today. It's the last Friday of March, and I kind of am looking forward to the summer season that it's coming up ahead. I hopefully am still in hope that we'll get some announcements on the next season of Lorcana for the competitive events. But for now, you can scan to find a Sunday event, and I was able to scan it, kind of just put in my zip code and find local participating GameStops, and the times they're going to have these like events or their hours, and that's it. That's all I was able to find. So not to say, not that there wasn't much information to, be put out there in the first place, but you don't get more information besides where to go and when to be there. But
Yeah.
hey, any of the goons that end up going in there, if you guys are not in our Discord, get involved in our Discord server. We got a lot of Goon Squad members over there cooking up decks and just talking about the market. But if you guys actually go to any of these events in GameStop, talk about your experiences in our server. Let us know what this was like. And Kevin's going to kind of go over them on Monday and just more or less talk about what that experience was.
Yeah, I want to know what exactly they're doing because it's like a demo day is what it looks like on the GameStop website. So I wonder if it's gonna be like you guys can play the game. Is there a tournament? Is there like promo prizes or something? Lately it feels like GameStop has been trying to be a local game store, like a chain of local game stores. I don't know if you guys keep up with Pokemon or anything like that, but whenever GameStop restocks their Pokemon, they don't even sell it at MSRP. They sell it at market price now. And if you guys didn't know, you can send your cards to get PSA graded through GameStop now. So the GameStop itself as a company has been making like waves to try and be like a somewhat of a local game store. And I guess maybe they're teaming up with other card games to do stuff like this. So that's really interesting. If you guys end up going, please let me know how that experience is for you because I genuinely don't know what to expect if I go. But we can't really go on weekends because we're busy on weekends. But another thing I want to talk about is that the Disney D23 page on Facebook posted that in honor of the 16th anniversary, Disney Lorcana is going to help celebrate with the 6 card collection that you were able to get last year at D23. So the sales access is only from March 26th through March 29th through this link, and you have to be a D23 member for a chance to purchase. And if I'm not mistaken, it's somewhat of a lottery. So there's no guarantee that you'll be able to get one yourself if you like enter through this link, but you have a chance of getting one if you did not get one of these this recent year. And a lot of people are kind of excited. Some people are not so excited because this is a literal reprint of something that they said last year was going to be exclusive. Zach, how do you feel about these?
I do not like this being reprinted at all. Very
Wow.
scary.
Okay.
Was once said by a comment on the
Oh
comment
yes,
section.
yes. This is the
However, I can
comment.
kind of share similar thoughts because right, they did kind of announce that this was only more of an exclusive item through either some parks or the actual D23 Expo that was here in Disneyland, California, or the Anaheim Convention Center. And yeah, there's some collectability behind these things, but it's a little scary when you are looking at things in a collector's market. However, these are trading cards, and more often than not, people expect certain things to kind of go up when they buy them. But the reality is that when it comes to trading cards, they will reprint them. And Disney Lorcana has mentioned before and about like their sets is that when they announce a discontinuation of a product, they'll let us know. Maybe it's something to consider for things like this, but I know like it's not available to just the public. You can't just buy it. You have to be a D23 member, and I don't know if it's a lottery system because I don't know anyone that's tried it. Somebody had already told me that they were sold out, and this was on like the 26th,
Oh
so
wow.
this was a couple days ago at Frank's.
Oh,
And
interesting.
I just don't know what's true or not. So let us know in the comments if you guys are able to snag any one of these D23 sets in the most recent release. I'm still holding on to the ones I bought from a while ago. I don't plan on getting rid of them. That's That's something I don't mind being more long term on because it's just I didn't have to put so much into it. But yeah, it's a little bit spooky for any of those that are very serious about their collections and very serious about anything that they buy in collectible spaces that they want to look at as investments. But do your own research and take your own risks. None of this is advice, but I am a little worried that they could just print more things whenever they wanted to, like the Dragonfire promos, the Let It Go promos, like all that kind of stuff. The Cindy's, the
That would be
Rapunzels. It's
crazy.
getting a little spooky. Yeah.
That would be crazy, yeah, if they reprinted the DLC promos or something. But I get what you're saying. Like Lorcana, they've been restocking and reprinting the first chapter too. So in terms of like the like TCGs, like I've never been a fan of using the word investments or whatever. I like holding sealed product. I at least have one of these, that I want to hold and just keep as a sealed product collection. Same thing with like a first chapter box and some other Lorcana stuff that I've just been picking up as the years go by. But yeah, these were retailing for $100, and the market price for these right now is 270, and they've actually been going up in recent time from like March, the beginning of March at 250, and recent sales hitting as high as 260. Those verified is now 275. And I would have thought with this announcement we would see some panic selling, maybe the price is going down, but no, quite the opposite. We're actually seeing sales data from recent days selling for 260, 271, 271. So maybe you're right, Zach. Maybe they did sell out already. Maybe people are feeling that FOMO already for some of these things. I know that these were way more available in the U.S. as opposed to like some other countries, mainly because we have Disneyland, California, out here in Anaheim. So, but when we went to D23, Zach, I remember seeing just stacks and stacks and stacks of these, bro. It just seemed like they had so many of them, and I wouldn't even be surprised if they didn't sell out that weekend because of how exclusive D23 is of an event to really get into, and like how many it looked like they printed. It felt like they were just wheeling more and more and more to California Adventure to keep selling. But do you remember that, right?
hmm Yeah, no, I was gonna mention in downtown Disney when we left the expo, we saw like a cart, and it was just full of these, and
Big
and
cart,
then they
big
had like
cart.
a limit. I had purchased I think like three of them, and I wanted to get at least two more, one so I had a play set, and another one for a friend that asked me. And then before I left the park, I get another text from a buddy saying, "Hey, can you snag me one more?" I'm like, "I can try," and I had to ask somebody else to buy it since they limited me already. So I got the amount that I wanted. I walked away with just four for myself, and it's something that I still have. I'm looking at them right now, and
Yeah, I'm looking at
I
mine
want to
too.
hold them. I
Yeah,
want to hold them just because I like having
mhm.
things that like I keep all the play mats from the set champs, like the ones that I've earned, or I bought in the champion mat that I didn't win the scar, but I'm holding those just so I can have something like that, more of like a long term
Well,
thing.
I didn't know you bought the Scar Champion, Matt. Okay, interesting. You just wanted to have that in your inventory, not
I didn't
inventory, in
I
your
didn't
collection.
win one. I didn't earn one, so I had to buy one. That's just how it
He's a
goes.
phony. He's a phony, guys. He's not a champion. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, Zach. But yeah, Zach out here playing with the playset of Enchanted Oswalds from the D23 set. But speaking of Enchanted, I want to go over some Enchanted update pricing from the recent set because a lot of us are still cracking open the Arcasia's Island booster boxes. I know a lot of us are finding the troves at Target, at Walmart, loose packs. I love seeing the Facebook groups post their hits. I think it's so awesome when I read a story of someone like, yeah, my significant other came back with like 3 packs from Target, and I pulled this Enchanted. So let's take a look at some of these prices, bro. Because Tramp, the enterprising dog, still selling for around $100. There's only 3 listings. Wow, really interesting. Only 3 listings available. Lowest verified is 114. Most recent sale for this card is going to be 112, 114, 83 for a light blade. Love to see that. That's a deal right there. The 115, 103. I genuinely just like this card. Like I'm a little sad that I did not buy these I don't have enough money. I'm broke right now. But I wish if I had 4 enchanted tramps, I would be playing the yellow green dog deck like religiously. But it's a really good card. I think this card makes kind of makes or breaks that deck, and it's just very good in Emerald in general. It feels like Cricky that you can play on turn 2, and or even on like turn 3 or 4 to pump up one of your characters and help clear some locations, help make some really good value trades. There's also Merryweather in that color combination, or just in the Emerald card pool that does that. But Tramp just does it way better. I also want to talk about another good boy that's been seeing a lot of great sales this week, Bolt the Super Dog. There's only 6 listings available, and lowest verified is $200 now. I'd really like to see that. Really like to see that. Most recent sale is 199. Somebody actually bought one for 199. That was 2 days ago. Before that, 103, 150, 151, 113, 114. So their prices are kind of everywhere, but lowest verified is 200. Zach, you think it's gonna stick around that way?
So I like to preface this point of the conversation by saying that this is a card that does say Banished Chosen Illusion character. Now we only have I think 3 illusion characters in the card pool right now, but the Reign of Jafar is supposed to pretty much bring out the illusion stampede, I would say, and we don't know what kind of impact those cards will make. And if they make a big enough impact, we could see characters like Bolt, this Bolt doing a lot of work. I know Amber has a lot of cards that re-ready their characters, so you could just exert him and use his ability again and again and again, and gain lore every time you do. Because when it's readied, every undamaged character you can have in play, including itself, you'll gain a lore for. So it's
Yeah.
not bad. It's still a decent ability.
I wonder.
Anything that gains you lore outside of questing, I feel like is overpowered. But what were you gonna say, Kevin?
No, I would just say I wonder how important illusion characters are going to be in the future. Right now we see Giant Cobra's the main one you see in the meta battlefield. So I'm curious to see if next set's going to add more illusions to like the meta game. But yeah, I think a lot of it is too is that he just looks adorable and his face is hilarious. The effect that says banished chosen illusion character is called Bolt Stare, and I'm pretty sure that's what he's doing in the picture. He's giving you that Bolt Stare, and you can't see me, Zach, 'cause I have my camera off on your end, but I've been mimicking him, and I think it's hilarious. It's just so funny to me. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's adorable. I like this card a lot. I'm glad to see that there's some great hits in Arcasia's Island if you guys are Enchanted chasing. Speaking of Enchanted, got to talk about Elsa because there's a recent sale with the Elsa. Somebody purchased one on the 26th for $1,000. Love to see that, dude. The chases are real, bro. Lorcana's still up there in terms of collectability. We still have some hits, which this isn't as obviously as crazy as like a Moonbrion, as they say, but it's $1,000. Somebody recent sale for an Elsa, not too shabby. On the 25th, somebody bought one for $895, closer to 900, and we talked about this one on the 28th. The PSA 9 selling for 980. Not too bad, not too bad. What do you think of Elsa, man? Do you think it's gonna stick around? I mean, it's never really dropped back down to like 700 or less than like next to less than like 800 since like last year. And yeah, even though we're getting some first chapter restocks, there's not that many available. We do have a Japanese one for 750. Shout out Constellation Gaming if you want to get your Japanese PSA 10. Wow, that's interesting. 875, even cheaper than the English Raw at this point. Another Japanese PSA 10. 875. There's probably going to be a decent amount of PSA 10 Elsas or PSA Elsas that are Japanese, kind of hitting the market more and more. Now that it's been a couple weeks since the first chapter has been released in Japan. And a PSA 9, 950, and then lowest raw is going to be 950 right there. So there's 23 listings. We're ready to go for anybody who wants to pull the trigger on something like an enchanted Elsa. But I want to talk
Something about the Elsa. Oh,
no, go ahead, good.
so yes, the Elsa is a nice enchanted, but if you guys are in the local Southern California area, I want to give a shout out to the Red Saber Games. You can go to Collectible Exchange tomorrow. If you guys are watching this video and you guys don't know, there is a tournament tomorrow where the first place prize is the beauty herself, the enchanted Elsa.
Yeah.
So if you guys are in the local Southern California area, if you need to stop by and pick up some cards for me, I'll be at a Frankenstein's Collectible Show. I won't be at the tournament. I just can't take so much time off away to play. I wish I could. I really, really, really wish I could, to be honest. I love you, Rob. I wish I could be there. But if you guys are looking to play some competitive Lorcana, I know a lot of people, especially some of our team members, are actually going to be there too. So if you see any of them, definitely say hi. And, I can't wait to see who the winner is. Like, also, I'm really more interested in seeing like the meta and what people are starting to play, because it's definitely a Sapphire dominated meta, as you'll see with some of the cards we'll talk about later.
All right, yeah, but yeah, Zach, you're 1,000% right. It is a Sapphire-dominated meta. A lot of people are playing blue in their decks, whether you're playing Sapphire Emerald, Sapphire Ruby, Sapphire Steel. You're probably running some copies of Tamatoa Happy as a Clam, and that's the reason why this price has not come down. And I talked about this last week. I did not expect this card to drop below $50 even after the big box retail release, just because of how impactful this card really is in the meta. There's actually a comment on on the Monday's Market Watch talking about how the Enchanted Tamatoa, maybe even this Tamatoa, should not be the price it is. That it's a little overhyped. Personally, I just think this card's that good. You're probably playing 4 of them, and if you're not playing 4 of them now, you might be playing them in the future. It's like somebody mentioned also in the comment section, it's kind of like Rapunzel. for Amber, where it's one of the few cards that can almost guarantee you an advantage, a card advantage. Like being able to grab two cards from your discard pile is not too much to ask in a deck like Sapphire, where you're playing popsicles, Hiram flavor champs to pop your items, etc. Lowest verified is going to be Theo Gaming, $55 and $1 shipping. Then Skittle Cards, $56, and then Scott's Emporium, $58.50, shipping included. It's pushing back up to that $60 range, huh?
Yeah, something I kind of also want to briefly mention. It's just there was a platform or seller on this platform that had over 100 copies, and they completely sold out at like $57. I saw them like change their price like once or twice, but they had over 100 copies, and they're no longer on like the non-foil listings at all for that price. Like, unless they increased their price, but they've completely sold out of over 100 copies, which means they cracked probably a bunch of product to have that many quantities. But still, impressive for that many to move and for the price still not to go anywhere. I think that speaks volumes.
I mean, it's a like I said, it's a great card. I don't even have like playsets, so I can't hold on to them. It seems like everybody wants to play Sapphire right now, right? It's just the best deck. A lot of people play Lorcana. I sometimes don't. I sometimes don't. Feel like we give enough credit to how big the player base actually is. You know what I mean? And whether you're a collector or a player, depending on where you're at, like we just had a 98 player tournament here in Southern California, and that's only a small fraction of the Southern California community that actually plays these games. We were talking to Jeremy from the Club Lorcana podcast about how he's in Atlanta, and that feels like the new mecca of card games, and how the Charlie's Collectible Show had like 350 players. These are unofficial events hitting numbers that are used that some games hit for their official regional events. You know what I mean? Sometimes Yu-Gi-Oh events in certain areas only hit like 200 players, and we have Lorcana unofficial events hitting 300, almost 400 players, and most of them are probably playing Sapphire. The cold foil for this card just came crashing down though, which tends to happen with legendaries that are also enchanted. So I have this shtick where I don't like when the legendary isn't enchanted now. I really wish they would make non-legendary cards enchanted in the future, just so that it'd be more interesting. Because like the hit in this set is Tamatoa, and it's also Tamatoa for the enchanted, right? But cold foil Tamatoa today selling for 65.71, lowest verified. That's a big difference compared to like $80-$90 where it was in the beginning of March. These have really just been coming down, but highest rarity is the enchanted. Let's go over Mickey Mouse Inspirational Warrior. This card, surprisingly, is still selling for more than like $5-$6. Those verified is $7.93 by Cloud Collectibles Texas. Why do you think that is? I mean, nobody plays this card.
I was gonna say I only remember seeing like one list play it. I think it was Jabo with his Jafar wheel, and his tech was the I forgot the name of the card, but it basically says
Last ditch effort. Last
there
ditch
you go.
effort.
Last ditch effort. There you go. Thank you, Kevin. So yeah, last ditch effort in the combination with this, so you can get the effect to go off, which was not bad, not bad. But keep in mind, guys, the cold foils are just literally a couple of dollars more than the non-foil legendaries. But this is an enchanted card, so that is the highest rarity of it. If you are an enchanted chaser, I can see why the Mickey is definitely part of your collection, but the effect definitely has potential. It's a steel card, and what other way to kind of transition from steel cards to steel cards is to talk about the strength of a raging fire. Boy, oh boy, is this card taken a complete drastic upward spike in the more recent times. I know non-foils right now are sitting around like $20. I know there was a little bit of buzz in the beginning of the week that this card got bought out to about $125 for your cheapest listings. And they didn't sell at that price, guys. I think we all can realize that, like, when cards get bought out, or when people are looking to increase the price of a card, it does spike, or it looks like it spiked. However, it settles, it gets less and cheaper to a point. But let's look at the difference here, guys. We're seeing a card from $35 back up to 40, and I'm now almost 50. So there's your increase. There's your spike. There's what's settling at, and it seems that people are still willing to pay for these copies.
Oh yeah, from 35 to 40 to $50 on the most recent sales. Lowest verified is easy buy and sell for 48.95 for a Strength of a Raging Fire cold foil. Zach, you're pretty much spot on with the non-foil pricing. They're $20. $20 now each for Strength of a Raging Fire. And this is really the steel card that you need in your steel strategy to just eliminate crabs, sharks, and all these other animals in the meta pool today. Let's talk about Calhoun, the Marine Sergeant. Calhoun the Goon selling today for $13. Love to see it. Getting very close to $15. We do have Swampside cards here. They have 6 of them for you if you need a playset. You can buy them on TCG Player right now. One of the few cards from Azurite Sea that is still seeing a lot of meta play. I like this card a lot. It's just uninkable. But other than that, I think it's a more than playable card in the meta at like 3, maybe even 4 copies of, depending on the deck you're running. It's able to contest Bell, which is very, very strong. You know what I mean? And it doesn't lose immediately to Storm Rage on either, which I think is very powerful. And yeah, having a card that can make trades and net you lore at the same time is sometimes what you need in like a purple steel strategy, right? Fishbone Quill, another
If you
rare.
know, you know, it's a hero.
Oh, it is
If
a
you know, you
hero.
know.
Oh, she is a hero. I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know she was a hero too. That's crazy. Let's talk about Fishbone Quill. This card is a rare from the first chapter that's just been going up in price. I mentioned this a couple weeks ago too. Get your Fishbone Quills before they shoot back up to $10, and we're getting very close to that $10 range again. 875 lowest verified by Ready Set Sort. 876, 877 Dungeon Games IN. All these lowest verified sellers. Shout out you guys for having the lowest prices today. So not quite $10 yet. A cold foil recent sale is 19.13. Some cold foil selling for 18, 16.83. Let's take a look at the lowest verified right now for cold foils and see if they're at that $20 mark yet. Look at this nice V chart, jumping all the way up from 13 for the cold foil to as high as $19. 18.57 with $1.22 shipping by Collectors Cove. Then Corbin Cards and Games has it for 19.79, very close to $20 again, man. A staple in Sapphire. For a while, nobody was playing Fishbone Quill. You know, you didn't need it. I felt like the meta was just a little too fast for this card. But now it's kind of like we've done like a whole 180, 360. We've gone back. We've gone back to Fishbone Quill, because the meta is so fast where you can actually set this up a lot easier in your decks now with like certain combinations of cards, like Unconventional Tool. Maybe you play Hiram Flavorsham to pop your Unconventional Tool, and now you can play your Fishbone Quill for only 1 ink, which is pretty good. Speaking of Hiram Flavorsham, these are selling for around $5 now. NP Games is low as verified for $3.67 with $1.31 shipping. After that, Crispy Gaming, shout out you guys, $5 shipping included. Flavorsham, it's a $5 rare now. This came out in the starter deck in Rise of the Floodborn, right? So you can, if you still have any Rise of the Floodborn starter decks, any of the Sapphire ones, you can find Flavorshams in there, and they're $5 each now. Cold foils are going to be $28.50, almost $30 for Flavorsham. Wow.
Yeah, cold foils are expensive, and I know that there are plenty of players that have more recently acquired some of their Sapphire cards. They probably had to spend about like double than what they would have paid like, month and a half, 2 months ago. These videos that we make are just so people can be more aware of the prices. But so you can't, find some of these cards in your area, or if you're having a harder time, then yeah, your only outlet is TCG Player. For more realistic, reasonable prices. But if you're in the Southern California area and you need some of these cards, you can definitely visit me at the Frankincense Collectible Show. I'm there every weekend and Wednesdays. And Kevin, where can they find you at?
I am gonna be at Carlsbad at Ninja Exchange. It's like a smaller version of Frank's collectible show. If you're from Atlanta, it's like Charlie's collectible show, but just like a smaller version. It's in the mall at the shops at Carlsbad. It's a really cool spot. We have Lorcana tournaments there on Friday night. So if you guys haven't been there yet in Southern California, it's San Diego County, so you do have to like head over that way, but it's worth it. It's pretty fun. Speaking of Sapphire cards and tournament ready stuff, a lot of people have been playing Hades in their Sapphire decks. We even saw Dincon Fun play one copy of Hades in his updated red-blue list for the continental tournament the unofficial cross continental thing they're doing. But yeah, so I think a lot of people are hopping on the Hades wave right now. We're seeing it in the price as well. Hades kind of jumping up from around $12 to almost $15 today. Actually $15 for sure. Lowest verified is going to be the Treasure Grotto, $15.98. So around $16 now for your non-foil Hades Infernal Schemers. Cold foils are pretty up there because they are first chapter cold foiled, and it's a legendary, so they tend to be a little bit more expensive. TCG card Nexus, $34.25 with $1.27 shipping. So at least $35 for a cold foil Hades Infernal Schemer from the first chapter. Sometimes you just need tempo cards. You need a card that's going to do two things at one time. You play a character and you remove a character, and that's extremely powerful in Lorcana. It's a high cost card, but when you're playing Sapphire, you can just get to these high cost cards way quicker than the opponent. Another card that has been seeing a lot less gameplay in the last couple weeks or so has been Maleficent Monsters Dragon, and we've seen this card come down from like $20 to $15. Lowest verified is 14.45, but I feel like I'm starting to see this also creep its way back into the meta. And whenever I play online, I've been seeing this card more and more. Cold foils are still pretty expensive, $70 with $1.22 shipping, which is nice to see because if you're cracking open any first chapter packs, there's a cold foil that you can pull and really see some value off of, right?
I mean, I just can't believe we live in a world where the Hades Infernal Schemer is technically worth more than the Maleficent Monstrous Dragon in the non-foil versions. Yeah, it's pretty crazy to see the tides shifting. But like you did mention, I know Ed Chu had like 4 copies of this in his deck and no copies of Be Prepared. So like we're valuing single target removal over like brickable board wipes essentially. Because this card is inkable, you can just put it face down in your inkwell. Another inkable card that I feel like you want to be playing no matter what is the Giant Cobra. This is the newest dual ink card from Arcasia's Island. It is a 3 cost inkable 4/4, so the body stats are impressive, but it is an illusion character. And they all, well, from what we know, is that the illusion characters have the keyword vanish on their board text. But its ability is pretty strong. Cold foils are actually around about $7 to $8 right now, and it's a four of in the
Yeah.
aggro amethyst steel decks. I know some people are even switching to more location based versions, still playing multiple copies of these, and there isn't sellers that have free shipping available with this card at a lower price. So you have to eat the shipping on your cheapest one. That's around $7.40. So you keep in mind that when you're adding if each seller you're buying from, you will have to pay at individual shipping costs, and if you decide to pick up more cards from that seller, then you only pay for the shipping one time on TCG Player.
This card's really good. It's this really the only illusion character that's being played right now, and I think even in like any type of Amethyst Steel deck you're playing, whether it's aggro, it's like mid range tempo, you're probably playing this card because you don't even have to trigger its ability to discard and gain 2 lore. You can actually just play it and not use that ability. You can also do a cool play that we discovered this week, where if you have Broom on board and no cards in hand, you can play a Giant Cobra. You put them both in the bag. You can pull out the Broom first. You draw a card, and then you can trigger. You can pull out the Cobra and then discard the card you just drew. So there's a lot of interesting use cases for this card. I think it's really good. But we're talking about
Unless you're
Tramp.
playing against a certain someone.
Oh yeah, we're talking about Bolt. Bolt's really good because they'll be able to get rid of this. Let's talk about some other cards that I think are pretty underrated right now. The Tramp Enterprising Dog, which yes does have an enchanted rare. This cold foil rare is only selling for around $3 to $4, and like I was saying when we were talking about the enchanted rare, I think this card really takes the deck up a notch from like tier 2 to like tier 1.5. This card's so good, so to only see the foil selling for around $3 to $4 for a rare is really interesting. Penniless Card Shop has 2 of them ready for you for $3 with $1.31 shipping. Next lowest verified is going to be House of Rules Gaming for, oh look at that, $2.68 with $4 shipping. So they are kind of climbing up in price going by verified sellers, including the shipping. You're going to be paying closer to around $6 to $7. So maybe you might want to consider getting these right now from these non-verified sellers where they're a little bit cheaper than $5 still. Like I was saying, I think this card is really good. Don't sleep on this deck if you want to try out a Lady in the Tramp deck. I do think the yellow green deck is really fun. Troubadour, this is a card that you wanted to talk about, Zach. This cold foil is pretty inexpensive right now, selling for as low as lowest verified is going to be actually around $5, $4.97. But non-verified sellers, if you guys want to get some deals, we have them for $2, $1.49, $1.90. So you can take advantage of some of the non-verified sellers right now and pick up your Troubadours for cheap because cold foil verifieds are going to be at least $5 for this card, and it's an Amber Steel card. I think Amber Steel is still a decent deck to play in the meta. Does have a tough time. Does have a tough time against Ruby Sapphire, though, right? Don't you think?
Well, it for sure does. But something to kind of keep in mind too is that this card is being played in Zach Bivens' more recently uploaded deck list from the tournament we were just talking about before. It's an ally, so in combination with Miss Bianca allows her to have a reduced cost of 2, and those are some pretty powerful singer bodies you have on board before turn 5. And that is kind of why I wanted to really talk about this card, is because there are so many cards that I feel like are unexplored. And sure, even if their non-foil versions are cents, the cold foil versions could probably be like $1. Let's talk about the Baymax Giant Robot right now for that kind of reference. This card is actually a very, very powerful card in the blue-green deck. you are playing this on turn 3 over a Tipo if you curve out and hit the cards correctly. But singing How Far I'll Go is pretty good, or even singing like a We Don't Talk About Bruno to just remove like their early character is pretty high tempo, and it just has a decent body. A 5/5 for two lore questing. It is uninkable, so you do have to kind of consider like how many copies you are playing. But I think this card's really good, and it's something to consider, guys. Like your cold foil versions of these commons and uncommons are worth picking up. Sometimes they're even worth picking up if they're non-foil. We saw like cards like Mr. Smee and Chernobog's Followers hit like expensive price points during their times in the meta. But yeah, this Baymax giant robot is a great example of a card that I think could just only go anywhere but up, and it's cheap right now. And if you haven't explored blue green, it isn't a deck I would tell anybody to take to like a really competitive tournament without proper testing and proper understanding of like what to expect. But it does have a lot of interesting lines, and I really think that there's some unexplored potential with that color combination.
I didn't even think
Yeah,
about I didn't even think about singing Bruno with this. Like my whole thing has always been like how far I'll go, let it go. But yeah, you can sing Bruno with this too on like turn 3, which is really good. I like this card a lot. I think blue green is a very good color combination that needs to be explored. Being able to play a 6 cost character on turn 3, that just repeat that again. You can play a 6 cost character on turn 3. That's really good. That's a very good card. So yeah, Zach, you're right. There's a lot of unexplored stuff in the meta. A lot of people are exploring like a lot of the older cards too. Pete Games Referee, this card has been shooting up in price, dude. The cold foils are getting very close to $20. Lowest verified is going to be 16.30 by physics. And look at these recent sales; these easily jumped up from like $9 to $10. These were selling for a little bit closer. Oh, they were selling near $20 on last meta too in the beginning of March. But we have a lot of sales in the beginning of March for $12, $11, $13. So to see that $15 already, pretty cool. Pretty cool to see. Very important card. I think right now I was underestimating how important this card is. But being able to stop the opponent from using How Far I'll Go, Sail the Azure IT, stuff like that is really good, right?
yeah. Non-foils too are actually of over $1, and this might even hit the $2 price point, like Tipo already is right now. Just for what it's worth, any of these like staple uncommons, just confidently separate them from your bulk, even if they're not worth anything now. Just confidently separate them from your bulk. I think for as long as Pete Games Referee has ever been a card, I've paid like about 25 cents anytime people want to sell them to me. But there will be times people sell me bulk, and I'll pick them out of bulk. But do your due diligence, guys. This is just a card that even in your trade binders can just be like little like throw-in deals to help solidify a trade. Some deals, some cards that are really cheap right now. Actually, this Queen's Castle Cold Foil is not even a $5 card right now. It's crazy because that is during set 3. I think we were all like worried about this card. We were petrified about this card, and it was about a $15 non-foil from what I remember, right?
Yeah, everybody was afraid of this card in set 3. It used to be so broken to be able to play like double Queen's Castle on 8 ink and Ruby Amethyst, and but yeah, how the mighty have fallen. I think it's a really good card though. You made a very good point. A lot of people are playing locations in this current meta. So maybe this card comes back into the meta game. I personally like playing it in some of my builds that I've been trying out. I think a lot of people don't expect this card. The biggest issue though is that one Maui Shark just takes this out in one swing. And like Maui Shark is already kind of a problematic card to deal with. So to play a card that just auto loses to it is kind of like questionable. Vitalisphere has been a card in the more recent card pool. So Vitalisphere plus Maui means you could just clear it with one swing. But really, those are all Ruby Sapphire cards. You know what I mean? So like, but this card is still very good against other color combinations, and even against Ruby Sapphire, you can definitely use this strategically and set up scenarios where you beat prep the board and play a Queen's Castle, and now they have to invest more into their board. They have to have the right card combinations to clear the Queen's Castle. So meta-wise, I think it has potential. A lot of people, like we were saying, are switching back to locations. So maybe you want to pick up one of the best locations of all time, which is the Queen's Castle. This card also draws you a card. It gives you 2 lore, and it's only move cost of 1. Putting any character there means it's going to be able to replace itself, if not give you even more draws, which is really powerful. When this card goes off, it goes off. It completely sways the game. But that's going to be all for meta cards for today's Market Watch. I just want to finish off today by going over the recent prices and sales for the booster boxes of Arcasia's Island because one of the things that we've been preaching is that I mean I've been saying anyways, I am not going to be surprised when this box hits MSRP pricing, which is very new because we haven't really seen that for Lorcana in a minute actually since like Floodborne. But yeah, look at this. Lowest verified for an unopened booster box is going to be 126 with $11 shipping. In fact, they have an open version for 135 shipping included. Then it jumps to 141 by Bulk Busters shipping included. That's basically MSRP pricing. At least 130 is what you're paying. You might be able to find it for a little bit cheaper from your local game stores, which is pretty cool. So if you have local game stores that are pricing this less than 130, I think that's a deal, right?
That's 100% a deal. I have very, very few booster boxes remaining at Frank and Sons, and I've been selling them for 130 as of recently. Do got loose blister packs too. If you're not looking to buy a whole box, just want to buy some packs, have some fun, crack it open. Maybe even do a pack rush with you and your friends that you're with. Take some packs with you to those GameStop events that are happening Sunday because who knows? Maybe there's just no product when you guys get there. And maybe that's just going to be a common trend for Lorcana now, like how it is for other card games. But it is good to see. It's healthy to see more closer to release booster boxes settling at MSRP. It was an interesting time when we had first chapter come out and no one could find it at MSRP. Floodborne started to do the same thing a little bit, then settled back down to where I think it's now above MSRP. But then it never happened until now. So we're looking at the Lorcana becoming a little bit more healthier again, which is a good thing. And speaking of Rise of the Floodborne booster boxes, you can find some online right now for about $155, $160. And I'm telling people that this set is a little harder to get. I know that newest gift set from the Arcasia's Island does include packs from sets 2 through 6. I just want to kind of say that that's not guaranteed that you'll get a set from each pack from each set. It's assorted, it's mixed, and you get 5 packs. So you don't always get a Floodborne pack. Yesterday I did buy one just to buy, and I did not get a Floodborne pack with mine. And remember, cards like Strength of a Raging Fire are in this set, and these are very, very, very good cards. Hiram Flavorsham, right?
Cinderella
So
Ballroom
just
Sensation. There's a lot of good cards in that set.
exactly. So this is just a set that keeps going up over time.
Hmm.
They haven't announced that they wouldn't stop printing this one yet, just like they haven't announced the first chapter one.
Hmm.
So just keep in mind that there's still a world where you might see more stores have product of this available. I know Downtown Disney had D100 gift sets, but yeah, I mean, Kevin, do you think Floodborne's a good buy right now?
I mean, I like the set in general. Like, I like the Enchanted a lot from that set, actually. The Cinderella Ballroom Sensation Enchanted is still one of the more expensive ones. So, just for the sake of like chasing Enchanted, I like the set. I do want to mention though that you can get Japanese Rise of the Floodborne now. On TCG Player, they have them for as low as $56.99 shipping included for a Japanese Rise of the Floodborne booster box. And the Japanese league companies or whatever, they've been printing the Lorcana product really fast. It feels like it was actually just 2 months ago when first chapter came out, and they're already on Floodborne, which is really interesting. It looks like they're rushing it. They want to get out product there as fast as possible because you can tell they want to go to Worlds too. But yeah, if you guys want to save some money and you guys are okay with Japanese cards, or maybe you guys want some Japanese flavor shams, popsicles, cards like that, Cinderellas, you can buy the Japanese Rise of the Floodborne boxes for a little bit less than $60 right now on TCG Player, which is pretty good in my opinion if you're someone who just likes to open up packs because this is a very loved set, right? I think there's a lot of good cards in here. But yeah, man, Japanese booster boxes. Are you picking up any, Zach?
Japanese? No, I personally just didn't. I kind of not missed my opportunity, but I got for lack of a better term, let's just say I lost an opportunity that I thought I had but I just wasn't willing to pay more because I was getting asked to pay more. And so I stayed away from the Japanese product, although I probably still should have purchased some and just take smaller margins because so many people did ask me for that set. It was kind of a little bit of a sad reality to accept, but I did not go into the Japanese Rise of the Floodborne booster boxes. But if you guys are ever around me or just know that you are if you tell me you're interested in this, I could decide to pick some of this up and sell it at my booth. So just Let me know if these are things that you guys want. Again, I just want to shout out anybody that has came by and sold me cards this past week. I wouldn't be where I am without you guys. And thank you to all the Goon Squad members in our community. Shouts to you guys for always supporting the channel and getting those exclusive contents. If you guys didn't know, we do have a Patreon and we do have YouTube members. You can get involved and get more active in the Goon Squad that way. And we do like to add your guys' names to the end of these videos.
Yeah, we're doing live streams more now too. I'm committing to live streaming on Wednesdays and Thursdays at 11 Pacific Central Time, which is our time. If you guys want to go check out those videos, they're up on YouTube already. We're on Twitch. We're everywhere. So wherever you guys want to support. But if you guys, the easiest way is going to be to hit that like, comment, and subscribe button if you guys can. You guys been watching the Friday Weekly Market Watch with Zach Stone and I. My name is Kevin. We really hope you guys have an awesome weekend. Good luck in any tournaments you guys are playing. Bless the pulls if you guys are cracking open any of these packs. And same thing, if you guys want to get rid of any of your Japanese floodborne cards, I will happily take those in at my booth at the Ninja Exchange. I actually, now that I think about it, Zach, I really want Japanese rabbits and goats and Merlins and Madam Mims and stuff like that. That's gonna be that looks really cool, and you can play with them. You can play with them in the TCG here. You can play with them at your tournaments over here in the States. So if you guys are cracking open those Japanese first chapter floodborne packs, remember you can add them right to your deck, and yeah, it's you probably save a pretty penny compared to like buying some of these. But yeah, bless the pulls. Good luck on anything you guys decide to crack open this weekend. But until then, remember to stay tuned to Lorcana Goons, and we'll see you goons next time.